Doing? Welcome back to my Rob Zombie series, which is a lead up to the new Monsters movie coming out at the end of this month, which who knows how that's going to turn out. But last week we talked about 31, this week we're talking about Lords of Salem, and next week we're talking about Halloween, the remake, and then the week after we're talking about Halloween 2. So just get excited. So this movie is a little interesting. Lords of Salem was actually, before this rewatch, was my least favorite Rob Zombie movie, and I'll tell you what. Old people nudity. It's simple as that. It's just gross to look at. Nobody wants to watch that. But actually going back and watching this movie, that was just something in the first part of the movie which I just think is gross and weird and uncomfortable. Like, there is no reason that scene had to happen in the movie. But however, I did really like this movie. It's not great. I think what I enjoyed about this movie more than any other Rob Zombie movie is the amount of restraint on display with this movie. You see, Rob Zombie has this style of filmmaking and dialogue where it's F this, cunt, words like that, used excessive amounts of profanity. Now, I don't have a problem with that. It's his style. He can do what he wants. My problem is just that it feels lazy, and it's just dumb. It doesn't really feel like natural dialogue characters would say. It just feels like just I don't know. I don't know how to feel it. It's just I don't know. It's so much profanity and language like that it's the rare few times watching movies that I almost feel like, man, should I even be watching this? And I watch a lot of radar movies. It's kind of like that. So this movie doesn't have that. This movie has a more mellow, slow pace. This has a real pace of an actual, like, legitimate horror movie that went to theaters. This isn't like some big extravagant movie. It's a low budget horror movie, but it feels like something like The Black Phone that you could see being released in theaters. There are a couple things that make it not suitable to have that kind of theatrical experience, which is, first of all, Sherry Moon, or not Sherry Moon, Sherry Munster, or not Munster, Zombie, Sherry Moon Zombie. Her acting is always atrocious in all these movies, but I don't know. I got past it because the story about these witches and women being controlled in Salem and all that stuff was engaging enough that I got into it. I actually really enjoyed the story and the score and the atmosphere of this movie. It really, really worked. Had a bit of a clunky ending, but I feel like this is a kind of underrated Rob Zombie movie. It's not great. It's not my favorite of his movies. I think The Devil's Rejects or House of Thousand Corpses, probably one of those, because I could actually rewatch those. I don't know if I would ever rewatch this movie, but I do think that it is a pretty decent movie for what it is, and I think it's kind of underrated a little bit. It's not everyone's cup of tea, as I always say. Rob Zombie movies are kind of just not like that, but this is very different from what I talked about in the 31 review. This is a very different style of movie. It still feels like Rob Zombie, but it feels like someone came in, said, hey, slow down a little bit. And maybe, or someone who's trying to make like a Rob Zombie movie in spirit, and they took the best parts of his movies, and then they had him direct a couple scenes. I don't know. It's a confusing movie, but I honestly did not hate it as much as I thought I did. I'm excited to rewatch the Halloween movies because I think I definitely have an interesting take on those. And then the week after, we will be talking about Monsters Go Home, the theatrical Monsters film, leading up to Rob Zombie's Monsters movie.